Hi everyone, Aldrin here, and welcome back to Wild Bush and Grit. So as promised, this is part 2 of my making soap video. The first part was rendering your tallow, which we're done, and I have here in front of me. And now we are ready to make the soap actually. So you don't need to use your tallow. Any type of fat that you have on hand is going to work with this process. Whether you're using corn, olive oil, coconut oil, it's entirely up to you what you use. One thing I would like to say though about the deer tallow is it makes an incredible bar soap, which lasts long time. It's not something that is going to melt in your bathroom sink, for example. We've all known these soap that you use once, a little bit wet, and then the next morning it's all turned into like jelly. No, that's not what's going to happen with the soap, and it makes an incredible lather. Cleans super well, no complaints. One advantage of actually making your own soap is you can customize it to your own liking, right? So you can use whatever essential oil you want to use, and you can also decide the percentage of the super fatness in the soap, and which is gonna make a soap which is less harsh. Some people have very sensitive skin, and making your own soap allow you to really actually customize your soap for your type of skin. So if you want a fatty soap, you can, within the click of a button, you can adjust your recipe and you can understand how much lye ratio to fat ratio that you need to use to have a super fat soap or a soap that is harsher and drier soap. Alright, so let's go quickly around what I have on the table here and we'll start making soap right away. Alright, so the first thing obviously you'll need is fat, and here we have deer tallow. The second most important ingredient is your lye, the caustic soda. And this is what chemically will transform the fat into a bar of soap. So it is easy to find. I got this from Amazon. I can add a link in the description below. You can find that easily, almost anywhere. You can minimal research and you'll find some. The other thing, of course, we'll need some water and some mold. So here I'm using some silicone mold. They're actually flexible, so it's gonna make it real easy to unmold the soap once they're done. To melt the fat, you'll need a pot, and to mix everything after you'll need some sort of a here I'm using a stainless recipient to mix the lye solution and the fat, and of course the essential oil. Here I have some Scotch pine and I'm gonna mix it with some cedar. What I like with using natural scents like this is those are the bar soap that I use after when I'm at camp, when I'm hunting, and they act a little bit as a cover scent. I wash everything with these soaps, like my clothing and even myself, yes, and then even my clothing. You will also need a scale, so you can weigh out all your, the lye, the water, and the tallow. You can use a thermometer, that could be handy. You don't need to have one, you can go by feel. The thing is, you do not want too much contrast between the temperature of your fluids. When we have the fat on one side and the lye solution on the other one, you do not want like 100-degree difference between the two. You want them to be relatively at the same temperature. To be extra safe, yes, you can use this, but I'll just use my hand to kind of go by feel. Don't overthink this. And so I mentioned the bowl, steel or plastic or glass, and I also use a scraper like this. So I'll actually mix with this, and once we're done, I'm gonna use this to really scrape the bottom of the container. Okay, so about the recipe, there's a website I highly recommend you. This is where I usually gonna double check my measure, for the amount of tallow, lye, and water that we're going to mix. We're not making pancakes here, so do not eyeball it. I do not recommend to eyeball this. Be very precise in your measuring, because it's lye is very lye could be dangerous the way you use it, and you want to make sure that the soap that you're making is safe for your skin. All right. So what I do have here is 3 pounds of deer tallow. I enter that into the soap calculator online, and what it gives me is it's all in weight. I'll need 508 gram of water and 174 gram of lye. Now what I need to do is I need to melt 3 pounds of deer tallow, and once this is in liquid form, what I'll do is I'll add the lye to the water. Okay, not the water to the lye. I'll add the lye to the water. The order is very important. Lye on water, okay? Water on lye, no good, no bueno. All right, so the fat is on the stovetop. Medium, you don't want to rush anything here. You don't want to, at this point, you don't want to burn your tallow. Low heat and let it melt slowly. I'm going to mix the lye that I have here into my water, and I'm doing this on the stovetop because I got the air circulation going on. You don't want to breathe any fume or any sort of a. I hope you can hear me, but you don't want to breathe anything from any fumes from this. So make sure your place is well ventilated. And remember, you put the lye into the water, not the water into the lye. It's good. And now we're going to mix. And this is going to heat up. And it's already started to warm up. Okay, and you see how transparent it is now, so that's pretty good. We're almost ready. So let's move from here and let's go back to the table. All right, so now I'm gonna transfer the fat into my stainless steel container here. All right. And I'm going to pour my essential oils. This depends on what you use, your sensitivity to essential oils, the type of essential. I cannot tell you how much essential oil you need to use because they are so different from one another. You'll have to experiment yourselves. You realize I removed the plastic tips that goes on top. Usually, what I'll try to do is I will do a little bit more of scent at this point because as the process of soap making happens, it kind of loses a little bit of its aroma. So now I'm gonna start mixing first the essential oil and the deer tallow. And I'm gonna check for smell from time to time. I think we can increase a little bit more. So I got my lye solution here, and to the touch they're almost identical. So now I'm gonna pour this, and you realize that it's getting cloudier as I'm pouring it. Now be careful to not have any drips of the lye solution on your floor, on your table, or anything, so make sure it goes straight into a safe place. And now we need to mix this. So the change of color is normal, so it's gonna get opaque. this way. So at this point, what we're looking for is we're looking for a thickening of the mixture. Right now it's still fairly liquid, but it's gonna take a few minutes to start to thicken, and then we're gonna pour it into our mold. The smell is wonderful. There's actually a smell that I'm quite fond of, and I've never put my finger on what it is, and maybe some of you might know, especially you folks in California. So yeah, so I was hiking in Yosemite, I don't know how you pronounce it in English. But there was that intense smell of kind of flowery, but also very earthy. And funnily enough, actually before entering that forest, there's a beer, right? The Sierra Nevada Pale Ale that I really like. And it's that exact same aroma that I find while I was hiking in the trails of Yosemite. So if anyone knows what that smells from, please let me know, because I've been looking for it since for years. Last time I was in California was 5 years ago, and it's still today that haunts me. Alright, so it's been about maybe 40 minutes and the thickening has started. I mean, it's somewhat thicker than what it was earlier. Some people will wait a little bit more, but this is good. The temperature has stopped rising. It's actually going down. Alright, so to not make a mess, I will transfer some of the soap into this thing here, and then use the spout to actually, control all my pouring. So normally in 24 hours, this should have hardened. That's the average time it takes. And that's it. We're essentially done. The hardest part now is to actually wait. I would wait at least 3 days, 72 hours to make sure they're fully hardened. Don't rush. Let's slow down a bit, right? So with this silicone mold, what I like to do is, you realize I didn't fill them to the top, right? I still have about 1 centimeter average, of room. So what I'll do is I'll just flip the mold like this, and I will gently push on each one. And this should, come out fairly easy. And voila. Isn't that beautiful? Come on, folks. Seriously, why not make soap at home, right? So you can think of this as, the average amount of soap you will get with an average dough. I think the dough I had maybe was 3 years old. And you get about I would say, I'll put how much soap I got from this batch, but one dough, this amount of soap, it's gonna last forever. And as I said previously, these bar, once they're fully set, will last a long time. They are not going to melt because you just wet them. They are very, very durable, and they remain efficient. They smell really good. These pines